This is a 2-pack of jewelry price labels, and there's 100 labels per roll. I was sent these for review for free. If you wanted to purchase them, they would cost you about $20, but you might be able to get a 10 or 15% off coupon. So these guys are jewelry price labels, and they are a thermal label type setup, so you can print them in any thermal printer. And what makes them jewelry price labels is that they have a very distinct shape. And so you get this label, which is 30 millimeters wide and 70 millimeters long. And when you print out on it, you're really only going to print out on a certain section of it. So they come with a layout that has these breakaway parts, like so. And most of these breakaway parts you're probably not going to be using as part of your label, so they're kind of, extraneous waste just to keep this in a square aspect ratio. And what you have is you basically print your price or whatever information you want on these two parts, and then you can stick these two parts together, and then this bit here folds over, and so you have sticky bits just at the ends here, and you make a loop, and you can stick this sticky bit to the other sticky bit, or anywhere else really, and you can put it through something like a ring or an earring or a necklace, and so it will make this little loop that sticks, you wrap around something, you stick to itself, and it has the ability to have label printer on both halves. I think you just have to be careful when you take it off of this bit. So I've removed the waste parts, that one, and then here it looks like if I'm careful I'll be able to get these two bits off together. Yeah, so that's how it's supposed to be done, is you don't rip those little perforations, and then it will fold on the perforations, which makes it easier to line things up. You stick those together, and then if you have something really small that you don't want to do this whole thing, you could just wrap this around something, so you could wrap the sticky bit around something entirely and just have it like that. Or you have the option of folding half of this thing over, and there's the two little notches there where the sticky stuff will be exposed still. So if you fold this over on that line there, you'll have a little bit of sticky right here and right here, and then you can put those stickies together around something. So it's not difficult to do, it's a little fiddly, so it's going to take you some time to label all of your things, because it's not super fast. You have to do a little folding and sticking, and have to be careful about getting things to line up. Also, you're going to have to build a template for your label maker that basically puts the information you want printed on these two bits here, so kind of doubling up two little squares and then leaving a big large area open, and it's going to be coming out of your label maker this way. So either your text will go this way, or you'll have to mirror or kind of rotate your text to be kind of vertical in the label maker. So you will have to use a template or a design pattern to make sure your text gets in these two little square areas. And of course there's a lot of little sticky stuff that's not part of the sticker that's just kind of filling it out to be the full size of that 70 by 30 rectangle. So you're going to want to double check your label maker specifications and make sure that it can work with a 30 millimeter roll here. So most label makers have something that can adjust in size, so a smaller roll will fit, but just make sure yours will work with a 30 millimeter wide roll. Also to note, the two little squares are in the top of the label, and then the rest of the unused label part is down here. Now if you got really fancy, you could actually print something on some of those unused parts and maybe have something that goes on the actual merchandise and something that sticks on the bottom of the box, making use of that extra bit that's not part of this tag. Alright, it took me a couple of tries, but I basically have my template lined up where I want it, so I can put labels for Ethernet cables on these guys. Now I got the text on the second side, I guess reversed, sort of. Depends on which way you look at it, which one's reversed, but it does look like your text should go in opposite directions around that fold. I'm actually putting the sticky stuff on the cable here, and then I'm just wrapping it all the way around. The sticky part of this guy will stick to the cable, and it sticks to the other sticky part. It doesn't stick to the top of the label. The top of these thermal labels are kind of slick, so I haven't been able to get this as close to the Ethernet cable as I wanted. I mean, it sticks to the Ethernet cable just fine. It hangs on. It could rip off. You know, it's a relatively small section right there, so that could rip off, but it does work pretty well for labeling cables. I experimented with not ripping off the extra bits and just wrapping the whole thing around the cable, but it still kind of breaks at the score lines and it really doesn't give you any advantage. Alright, so pulling these guys off is certainly doable. It's not super strong, but it takes just, you know, a little bit of effort. It's not going to come off, you know, accidentally. Alright, so I printed one out for an actual ring. All right, so that's the waste stuff that you're not using. And then this is your actual label. Fold this guy over, and you also fold this guy over, and that way adhesive won't actually touch your product. And you have two little bits of adhesive there and there. And so essentially you put the product in between and you push these two bits of adhesive together like that. And so now you have a silver ring with a price tag attached to it. And so to remove this, you can simply pull and it will snap that bit first. And then this bit here, probably the best way to do it is to pull apart like that. So that's how it works. Alright, so this is kind of a specialized label. It definitely does a good job if you're trying to attach something to like a ring or a necklace, so it's a good way to do a label for that. I've been using it for labeling Ethernet cables, and it works okay for that, although I think just a flat label maker with kind of the words repeated twice wrapped around the cable would work just as easily. But for rings or jewelry, I think it definitely serves the purpose that it's designed for.